Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the country is mourning the deaths of 3 hostages mistakenly killed by Israeli forces. And the Home Office says a post-mortem examination has taken place following the discovery of a body in Norwich in the search for missing woman, Gaynor Lord.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. We're here for every journey in the future with over 300 EV train centres. Find your local EV train centre at quickfit.com and drive away happy every time.
Cloudy for most, with light rain in western areas. Heavy rain expected to continue, though, in northwest Scotland.
Hey, mate, come over here. Come over here. You're looking for a bit of sport on the side, yeah? Try talkSPORT 2. They got loads of live football, cricket, rugby, boxing and all the best talkSPORT documentaries. Hit talkSPORT 2 on DAB, on the app and on your smart speaker. It's your other national sports radio station. What are you waiting for?
Online, DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 10:53 a.m. Get in the ring and go the distance with Fight Night.
The fight starts now.
With Gareth A. Davies.
I don't think he's going to get up.
On talkSPORT, the home of boxing.
Welcome to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth A. Davis, and him, Spencer the Omen Oliver. We've got a massive 3 hours coming up for you tonight. With just 1 week until the day of reckoning in Saudi Arabia, we hear from promoter Frank Warren and former heavyweight world champions Deontay Wilder and Joseph Parker. Chris Eubank Jr.'s promoter Kalle Sauerland is on the show with the Eubank versus Conor Benn fight now seemingly off. And we'll hear from Cruiserweight All Alloys Jr.'s story when he joins us in the studio for half an hour. All that and much more coming up. This is Fight Night on talkSPORT. Well, a very good evening to you and a very good evening to you, Spencer the Omen Oliver. We have 3 hours of cracking stuff coming up. We are both heading to Saudi Arabia this week to cover probably the biggest card we've ever witnessed, and we will be across that all night with several of the protagonists involved in it. How are you?
G-Man, I am always good when I'm working with you. Yeah, really good, mate. Looking forward to a huge week of boxing. You know, historic night out in Saudi Arabia next week. Yeah, can't wait.
Any sea swimming this week or pond swimming up in Hampstead?
None up in Hampstead. You know, the last time I was in the sea was obviously down in Bournemouth, as you witnessed. I was in there back-to-back days. Chris Smith. His great victory over Masternak. Yeah.
Sunday night event was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. And I mean, Chris Smith, boy, he had to dig deep. There was a time there when he was walking back after about 4 rounds. I'm looking at him, walking back to the corner. I'm thinking, this kid needs to pick himself up. You know, this is not going his way. But he done what champions do. He turned the screw. Shane McGuigan in the corner really revved him up. That's what a good trainer does. He recognised that his fighter was low, and they turned it around, and it was a great victory. And I'm so pleased he won. Yeah, and I spent a couple of days in the sea, Gareth. It was it was entertaining, interesting.
It was a rollicking Sunday night in the Battle of Bournemouth Bay. A reminder, by the way, that you can head over to the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel to watch this show live right now. Look, let's get straight into the action. Let's get this one out of the way. We believed from Eddie Hearn that Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. may fight on February the 3rd. They couldn't get the funds right for Chris Eubank Jr., I'm hearing. I understand it was millions and millions he wanted. They couldn't get that over the line. Eddie Hearn has pursued Devin Haney this week for a fight with Conor Benn. What's your take on it? The fight, Conor Benn has admitted that he thinks he'll never fight Chris Eubank Jr. now after that fight collapsed again. Do you think it will happen?
It may happen, you know, in a year or so time. But I mean, listen, Conor Benn's campaigning at 147. Chris Eubank Jr. is campaigning at 160. He wanted that world title fight against Janabek. That fight now seemingly gone away as well, by the way. I'm so interested to speak to Kalle Sauerland. I think we're going to catch up with
in
Kalle.
about half an hour.
Yeah, we're going to catch up with Kalle, and it'd be interesting to see what route, what direction he's going with Chris Eubank Jr. Because Kalle, I think, was talking about the IBO title, and Chris wanted that WBO title shot. So let's see what happens with that anyway. But do I think the fight Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. happens? I don't think it happens in the next 12 months or so, no.
I do. I think it'll happen late in the year or late summer. I just think there's too much money there to be avoided. I mean, I reckon that they... I don't know these details, and Kalle Sauerland, and we'll push him on it later, was being very circumspect when interviewed this week around the Josh Kelly event that's going on tonight at the Beacon of Light in Sunderland. We'll be across that as well as that happens live. That's on DAZN. I just think that he asked for a very big payday, almost double what he was asking for. It wouldn't have surprised me if he wanted around the 6 million mark for that fight.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I think that Chris, was asking for a phenomenal amount of money, and you understand that with what happened, previously, and Chris going through that training camp and the fight falling through, and Conor Benn failing drug tests, etc., etc. And I think that there's a big problem as well, Gareth. I think it's a little bit deeper than that as well. About this fight, they wanted it on UK soil, and I think that there's problems behind that as well, with the promoters that are involved, trainers, managers, etc. So I think there was a little bit more than maybe Eubank just not agreeing to the fight. I think there was other problems behind the scenes with that as well.
Well, there's things like his British licence. If he fights unlicensed, No, I mean Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They all get penalised. That's right. Exactly that.
For those who've been living under a rock since October last year, just to fill you in on the background, of course, 27-year-old Conor Benn failed 2 drugs tests last year, and the bout with Chris Eubank Jr. was cancelled. It was at a catch weight, if I remember rightly now, of 157 pounds.
157 pounds.
And the bout was cancelled on short notice after it was revealed that Benn had failed 2 tests for clomiphene, a banned substance. He was subsequently stripped of his British boxing licence, suspended by UK anti-doping, and of course we've been mired in trials and lawyer speak and legalese for the last 14 months. Benn is still unable to fight in Britain under the Boxing Board of Control. And there is appeal that the board have put in with UKAD, and we believe that hearing is going to be held in January after the suspension on him was lifted. So he can still fight at the moment if he wants to, but not under the jurisdiction of the Boxing Board of Control. Obviously, he fought earlier in the year in the United States. So the negotiations are broken down. Here's that quote from Eubank Jr., by the way, and we'll on Twitter or X, we'll talk to Kalle Sauerland about this in about half an hour when he comes on. Eubank wrote on X, here it is, Spence, went to sleep after agreeing to fight Janibek, that's Alim Kanuli, great fighter, by the way, for world titles. Woke up, and now my promoter, Sauerland Bros, is trying to make me fight Etinosa Oliha, is the person, a boxer nobody has heard of. You heard of him?
No.
At Wasserman Boxing, how and why. Well, we'll put the how and why to Kalle Sauerland in about half an hour. I hope I haven't frightened him off. I don't agree with you. I think professional boxing is professional boxing for a reason. It's a business as much as it is a sport.
Understood.
There is massive business in that fight. With Benn and Eubank. I think it's a mismatch at middleweight.
It's a stadium fight. It's a huge fight, and it will capture the imagination. No, Gareth, I am all over that, and it's a fight that I would actually like to witness once all the mess is cleared up. That's what I'm saying. It's a fight that I want to see. It's a fight that the public wants. It would sell out any stadium within hours. Yeah. I totally agree with that. It's a massive fight.
You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT in partnership with William Hill. Get epic value all season with William Hill. 18 plus. Be gamble aware. Before we continue, though, let's cross over to Sean Price, who's at Ali Pally watching the world, not the talkSPORT, the World Darts Championships.
Hello, good evening. Yes, it's day 2 of Dartmouth here at the Palace, and what a day we've had so far. An emotional Jamie Hughes is through to the second round after winning his first match on this iconic stage. He beat David Cameron 3-1. And Ireland's Keane Barry, the 2022 UK Open semi-finalist, is currently 2 sets up against a Filipino Ronaldo Rivera, who incidentally is holding a marker pen in his hand whilst playing, because apparently he's used to marking his own scores when he plays back home. And there's live commentary of the final 2 matches this evening over on talkSPORT 2 later on.
Thank you, Pricey. Coming up next, I love the darts at Ali Pally. Do you know what? I used to go to the William Hill darts at the end of the year. You know, they all dress up in costumes.
Oh, I love it.
So many boxing fans there. Always such great fun. How did you do in the darts, by the way, the other day?
Yeah, I lost to Darren Bent.
There we go. That's enough said. No, let's not go any.
No,
I don't want to go any.
I don't want to rebirth it anyway.
Okay. Coming up next on Fight Night, Frank Warren, the promoter of Day of Reckoning, joins us.
Christmas 2023 on talkSPORT.
Frankincense, fruitcake, figgy pudding, and football.
Oh, what a finish!
Christmas 2023
It's delivered high!
on talkSPORT. It's the giblets.
You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth A, Davies, Spencer, the Omen Oliver in the studio with me. We're joined now by promoter Frank Warren, who is, I believe, heading to Saudi Arabia on Monday. Good evening, Frank. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, young man?
Very well, thank you. Very well.
Good.
Frank, a huge week awaits. Day of Reckoning. By my estimation, probably 8 main events on this card in Saudi Arabia, and 10 of the top 15 heavyweights in the world. Let me ask you, first of all, have you ever been involved in a card that is as stacked as this one?
No, I haven't. This is an amazing situation, but it's fantastic to be involved, and it's the most important thing is it's brilliant for the fans. As you say, 10 of the top 15 heavyweights in the world, and out of this show, we're going to see some future fights developed with the winners. That's for sure. Some great fights will come from it.
One of the things that many people are asking, and I am getting very positive feedback in my own meandering experience around the place. People are having watch parties, Christmas is coming up, so there's a lot of people have massive interest. There's 2 huge fights with lots of jeopardy on the top of the card. Who's going to walk first, or rather last, by the way? Is it Deontay Wilder against Joseph Parker, or is it Anthony Joshua against Otto Wallin? How are you going to decide that?
Well, it'll be decided on Monday, but I don't think that's such a big issue. Look, you've got to realise also there is time differences here. For Britain, we're nearer to Saudi, so our time zone, we get it prime time. For the Americans, it's on very, very early in the States because of the time difference, and obviously it would make more sense for Deontay to go on last because obviously that'll put it back further in the afternoon for them. But you know what? We'll sort it out when we're out there. It's no big deal.
I think you've just sorted it out by the sound of it. That makes sense to me. And
I haven't, but we will do because that's what we're there to do, to sort it out.
There's some massive fights on the card. Huge jeopardy, obviously, for Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. Is it true, or is there any truth in the rumour that March the 9th could be the date if both Wilder and Anthony Joshua win? And have they agreed to fight each other yet?
Well, first of all, they've got to win.
Yeah.
And I've got to tell you something, that's no foregone conclusion. These 2 guys, they're in their 30s now. They're fighting 2 fellas who really fancy their chances against them. And they are tough fights, and there's a lot of pressure on both AJ and Deontay. And if you look at it, AJ has not done too well with southpaws in recent years, and Wallin is a southpaw. He's coming off a good win against Gassiev, who's a world-ranked heavyweight. So we'll see what happens with that one. And if you look at with Deontay, how long is it since he's fought at top level? It's quite a while now.
26 months. He's had 1 round.
Well, there you go. So that's him, and he's in with a guy who's coming off a very good win, who trains on a regular basis with Tyson Fury, and the three losses that's been inflicted on him were by Tyson on Deontay. So he knows him inside out. So that's going to be interesting as well. So we've got some jeopardy in those fights, some serious jeopardy. And they know they can't afford to lose. They know they've got it. If they're coming through it, will put them in a magnificent position to make that fight. And if AJ and Deontay get it on early next year, which is what everybody's hoping for, then the winner of that will get himself in a position to fight the ultimate best heavyweight in the world. Place in February.
The big jeopardy fight as well, and one of your young guys, Daniel Dubois, has already obviously won the WBA title and then fought Alexander Usyk as a mandatory. He's got an awful lot on his plate against the much maligned Jarrell Miller. That's kind of, for me, that's a brilliant 50-50 fight on the card, if I can say so myself.
Well, it is. I mean, really, it shouldn't be, but it is. And the thing is with Daniel, is that in his last fight, in my opinion anyway, gave Usyk his toughest fight that he's had at heavyweight. There's no doubt about that. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Big gap in between, and momentum was lost, and a lot of people criticised his desire or his heart. And so he's got to prove people wrong, and this is going to be the acid test for him. And he's in with Miller, who's obviously who's been a drug cheat in the past, and he's passed all his drug tests, by the way, and he's licensed by the Nevada Commission. But he's in with him. He obviously will want to push his credentials. He is also, he's not a bad heavyweight.
No, he's a very good heavyweight, I think, actually.
And I think he's, we're going to see what our man's all about. I think he's got everything, Daniel Dubois, but there has been criticism of his desire, and we will see where we go with that, because he can't afford to lose either. For the two Brits, we've got a few Brits on the card, but in those heavyweight fights, the two Brits, they've got it all to do.
Sure. Frank, listen, I spoke to Joseph Parker earlier on in the week, actually. You can get that on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. And he went through everything and how he's got out there before any other fighters out there, because he wants to acclimatise because of the time change and the weather, etc., etc. And he truly believes that he can turn Deontay Wilder over. And like as you just said, he's only boxed once in 26 months, a one-round win over Robert Helenius. And he thinks timing's right, and he can rip up that script, for these potential fights that are going to be made, later on in the year.
Yeah, well, look, it's there to be done for him. He's seen the blueprint from it with his, with his best buddy, with Tyson. He's seen the blueprint. Whatever way you want to look at it, that Deontay's not the type of guy who's going to roll over or just fall over. He comes to fight. He's a tough competitor. He's a big puncher. Even after coming off with a loss and a draw against Tyson, he had Tyson on the floor twice. So you know that he carries those bombs in both fists. So I genuinely think it's going to be a really, really exciting fight. Whilst it lost, I don't think it'll go the distance. One of them will go. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. He said that he'd spoke to Tyson and they've been working on stuff. Tyson's given him some inside information.
Avoid the right hand.
Yeah, exactly. Avoid the right hand. He said that is. But he's a good technical boxer, Joseph, and he said that he's having Tyson there has given him that added confidence going into that one. Frank, what I wanted to move on to and talk to you about was this promo, mate. I saw you dressed up, and I saw you on your Instagram and your Twitter with your scars all over your face, etc. And what they've done out there with all the fighters, it seems one that they've had a great bit of fun out there doing this promo, and the money they must have pumped into that. Probably the best promo I've ever seen for a boxing event.
Well, it's mega, and it was, for me as an old geezer, it was good fun. I really enjoyed myself. I think everybody who worked on it enjoyed themselves. It was really good fun, and that I think that sets the scene for what this is about. This is serious, big time boxing. These are big events. I said it'd be a game changer, and there's no doubt about it. The game has changed. You're seeing these fantastic events being put together now, and it's going to get better and better, because all what happens on this card is going to lead to some mega fights. So you've got all this excitement on Saturday, and you look at it, and you can see it's going to pan out into something extra special.
Couple of things, Frank. I had a chat to Bob Arum in the week as well, and we talked about, if you look at what he did as a newly minted Harvard lawyer in the Kennedy administration, he was looking into the funds that came out of the Sonny Liston-Floyd Patterson fight. He was asked to investigate at the time corruption in boxing. We know he's involved with Muhammad Ali. He's been involved nearly 60 years. You've been involved in boxing 46 years now. Bob was kind of suggesting to me that every indication, given the interest of His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh and the General Entertainment Authority and the Riyadh season, we really are going to see Riyadh and the Riyadh season become the principal destination for big heavyweight fight nights. And he kind of almost said it's going to be the new Las Vegas for heavyweight fights. Do you definitely get that sense as well?
I get that sense, but the only thing I don't agree on is it would just be heavyweights. I think it will expand from that, and I think there'll be a reason for it expanding. Yep. And I just think it's going to be good for all the fighters. It's certainly going to be good for the Brits, because we're going to get these fights as punters. We're going to see them prime time, which is brilliant. We haven't got to sit up till 5 and 6 in the morning watching fights, but you're going to see it. You're going to see fights happen that have been difficult to make.
We're going to see you working with Eddie Hearn more then?
Oh, if he's got somebody there that's of interest on the card, then of course we will.
It's good for the sport though, Frank, isn't it? It's so good to have Shelley Finkel and Deontay Wilder and Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua working with your heavyweights. It's such a good thing for the sport listen, you guys are always going to be competitors and rivals. There's no two ways about it, because that is our business. That's the business we're in. But to have you guys working on more cards together is, like you just said, is going to give us the fights we want.
Well, it certainly will, and we're all excited about it, and all we've got to keep doing is working together to make it happen.
Listen, Frank, how many shows could we see over there, in the next 12 months? I mean, how big is it going to be? There's talk. It's like a Super League with these heavyweights, isn't it? Like with, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Usyk, Joseph Parker's there, Otto Walling's in the mix, boxing winner, etc., etc. How many times in a year could we see shows out there?
Well, I think you're going to see it, especially during the Riyadh season. Boxing is part now of the Riyadh season. It opened up the Riyadh season, the Tyson and Ngannou fight. That was the opening event of the Riyadh season. So that's the importance of boxing, as it seems to me, in the kingdom. And as far as they're concerned, as far as His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh is concerned, he is a massive fan. There is a commitment to boxing, and I just think it's going to go from strength to strength. So we could see quite a few cards. I mean, we've had one. We've got one next week. We've got one on the 17th of February, and then maybe a couple more before then, and that's just in the last 6 months. So there's going to be quite a few, I think.
Brilliant, it's fantastic. And then final word, Frank, on a young man who isn't on this card, but no doubt you want him on February the 17th. We haven't mentioned it yet. Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk for the undisputed title. Had a word with Tyson's management team this week, and you'll know this. He is hard at work doing no interviews right now because he's deadly serious about Usyk. You're going to get Moses Itauma on that card as well?
He, as you say, he's going to be working with Tyson because he's a southpaw, and he's had 7 fights this year already. He was injured; he would have had more. He is 18 years of age. He's not 19 until next year, early next year. We all believe that he's going to be the guy of the future, and at the moment, he's looking the part. And I'm quite sure that he will feature on some of the cards out there. And I'm sure the fact that he's sparring with Tyson and he's preparing with him for that date, there's a big probability he will feature on the card.
Yes or no, is he going to beat Mike Tyson's record of youngest heavyweight champion?
He wants to beat it. Everybody involved in wants to beat it. But you know what? It's not a race. Mm-hmm. What do we... It's easy making world title fights. That's easy to do.
It's keeping it, isn't it? Yeah.
And it's defending them and being ready. That's what it's all about. And if he's not ready, then I certainly will not allow it to happen. So we'll see. He, as he is now, he's done everything that's been asked of him and more. And he's a consummate professional. He's in the gym all the time. He's sparring all the time. He's got a hunger and a desire. And everybody listening now, keep your eye on this boy because he is something special.
Frank, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We will see you, Spencer and I, out in Riyadh in a couple of days' time. Travel safe, sir. Thank you very much.
And you, and I'll see you when I'm looking at you.
Yeah, look forward to it, Frank. Indeed. Cheers, mate.
You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT in partnership with William Hill. Get epic value all season with William Hill. 18+, begambleaware.org. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth A, Davies and Spencer Oliver in the studio with me. Well, Josh Kelly has returned home to the Beacon of Light in Sunderland to fight Placido Ramirez as he looks maybe for a big fight at the Stadium of Light next year. His promoter, Kalle Sauerland, joins us now. Good evening, Kalle.
Evening, Gareth. Evening, Spence.
Hey, Kalle, how you doing, mate?
Not too bad. Got a couple of minutes.
I know, we hear you. Yeah, it sounds like you're under hailstorm as well. Just want to ask you, we wish Josh Kelly the best of luck in his fight coming up. I saw him earlier this week with Adam Booth down in the gym there in Surrey. He looked in brilliant form. He's up against a knockout artist, obviously, in Ramirez tonight, but a homecoming fight. What about Chris Eubank earlier this week? He was complaining that he was going to sleep thinking he was potentially going to fight Yanibek Alimkhanuly, and he woke up with someone he'd never heard of. What's happening with Chris Eubank at the moment? What a shame. Well, I think the signal at the Beacon of Light is exactly not that at the moment. Can you hear me, Kalle?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Just give us your lowdown on Chris at the moment. He's not going to face Conor Benn. Why and where are you going to take him early next year? No, it's Dalek time. We'll try and get you back later. So are the things that happen on live radio. Not much of a signal up in Sunderland tonight. Very important fight for Josh Kelly as he's about to walk to the ring, by the way, Spence.
Yeah, it certainly is. Ramirez is a tough campaigner. You know, out of his 24 victories, he's had 17 of those by KO. He has lost 3 times. He's been stopped a couple of times as well. I've looked at him on YouTube. You know, he's a tough guy, comes forward, loads up with a jab, loads up with a cross, keeps his hands high, but he's always in range. But, Gareth, his big problem is speed. He's quite slow. He's quite predictable. He just looks for the big right hand all the time. Josh Kelly, as we know, he's a smooth operator. He works the angles. He picks the shots well.
He's a matador to the bull, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Ramirez and his style is actually made for Josh Kelly. And I think that Josh Kelly gets the job done tonight. And I think he does it in style. I think 2024 is a huge year for Josh Kelly.
I agree.
We could see a world title shot. World title shot could be looming. And I think that Ramirez is a dangerous opponent. He's got to stay switched on. But I think Kelly gets the job done. And he does it in style.
He looked very strong. I went to see him on Monday in Surrey at Adam Booth's gym. And we had a fantastic deep chat for the Off the Cuff series on DAZN, by the way. It was a brilliant sit down. And he spoke very openly about his only career loss against David Avanesian at welterweight, where he was struggling a little bit with the weight, but more than that, and this is what I found fascinating, he was struggling with clinical hypochondria, where he believed he was so ill all the time going into the fight, couldn't sleep, was drinking the little miniature whiskey bottles in his hotel room, cracking open the minibar. Said it was such a weird time in his life. And obviously he lost that fight and he went away for a while. He's re-established himself at light middleweight, or super welterweight as they call it now, 154 pounds. He's very strong looking at 154 pounds.
Much more suited at 154. I think he was always a big welterweight. He always struggled at welter, and that's why we saw, you know, for the first 6 rounds, he was great and he was on point, and then we see a deterioration. We saw that against Avanesian, you know, where he just hit a brick wall and he went downhill quick. Since then, he's had 4 good wins, 4 good rebuilding wins, and that good win to win the
Troy Williamson was a great performance. That was the real matador in action, wasn't it?
Absolutely. He won that on a unanimous decision. That was for the British super welterweight title. And I think he's gone from strength to strength. That's what I say. Adam Booth's a great tactician, by the way. And he's also great, works well on the mindset of a fighter, you know, inside of him. And I think that he was always a little bit fragile around it, you know, the whole mindset thing, and believing in his own self-ability. And I think that's where he really lacked confidence.
You struggle to believe in yourself, don't you?
Yeah, do you think I do?
Never, ever, in the time I've known you, 30 years, have you ever struggled with self-belief?
But some fighters do struggle with that. They don't, you know, they don't recognise exactly how good they are and what sort of talent they've got. I think that, you know, if you look at it, I think that people believing in themselves, fighters believing in themselves, you see a massive U-turn when they start to believe in themselves. And I think that is really important. And Kelly is a guy that is just believing in himself.
Absolutely. 29 now. What I like about him, Does he believe, for example, that he's right for a Tim Sue next year? He's number 1 ranked with the WBO at light middleweight. There's some great fights for him out there, though. You know, Errol Spencer's in that division, Virgil Ortiz. I mean, people say, well, is he ready for them? There's something in Josh that I saw this week, and hopefully we see it in a minute, that there's something where he's ready. He's become a man. He's not pretty boy anymore, which was his ring sobriquet. He's a pretty man now.
Self-belief, Gareth.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that's a huge thing, you know, like for a fighter, that is 80% of it is the mental side, you know, the physicalities, they're there, you know. Josh Kelly's just a super, super talented guy, but I'm not sure he always believed in himself, and that is a huge thing. Now he does believe in himself, and I think Adam Booth has been instrumental in that as well, because he's great at working with fighters, and he's
a different thinker, Adam Booth. He was like that with George Groves, who was always his own man. He was like that with David Hay, who was his own man. We wish Josh Kelly well tonight. We will keep across that fight as they are about to make their ring walks. You never know, we might even get a clear line to Calisaurland at some point. Another opponent for Josh Kelly is potentially Chris Eubank Jr, by the way, as well. There's some big fights out there, but before we continue and we listen to Deontay Wilder, who's been talking to me for the station, let's cross over to Sean Price. Pricey, you're at Ali Pali watching the World Darts Championships. Who's throwing the darts?
Well, we're 2 games down tonight and 2 more to go. I have to say, a below par Keane Barry has just scraped into the second round with a 3-1 win over Ronaldo Rivera. Barry's now got the task of facing the 3-time world champion Michael Van Gerwen on Tuesday. And warming up, we've just taken to the Ocky now, and we've got Lincolnshire's Scott Williams, who sometimes wears socks include with our commentator Paul Nicholson's face on, apparently, taking on one of Japan's most decorated darts players, Haruki Muramatsu. And still to come, we've got the Flying Scotsman Gary Anderson. He gets his World Championship campaign underway against the Wizard Simon Whitlock. And there's live commentary of these matches over on talkSPORT 2.
Diolch, Pricey, what a beautiful voice you have. Saying that as a Welsh Italian myself. We'll be getting more updates from Sean Ali Pali on the darts. Well, up next, I caught up with him. He's Big D for me. He's the bronze bomber to many. He's Deontay Wilder. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT.
Christmas 2023 on talkSPORT. Festive sport with bells on.
And it's gone in! Would you believe it?
Jingle bells. Christmas 2023 on talkSPORT.
You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth A, Davies, and him, Spencer the Omen Oliver. Well, this week I caught up with former WBC World Heavyweight Champion Deontay Wilder ahead of the Day of Reckoning next Saturday night. I asked him if he's going to make his ring walk last.
I'm not really sure, but I'm looking forward to it, too, you know. But if it doesn't happen, then, you know, it doesn't happen. You know, that's not the end-all, be-all, you know. My main thing is to have a great performance at the end of the night and have a devastating knockout as well. So once I get those things, you know, I'm good. I'm happy.
Should Joseph Parker be worried?
Oh, for
when
sure.
You say, I'm training to be a killer. It's a feeling that I enjoy.
Yeah, he should be worried. I mean, anybody that faces me should be worried. You know what I mean? I always say women lie, men lie, but numbers don't lie. You know, I am the hardest puncher in boxing history, and numbers don't lie, you know, at all. Every guy I've faced, I've knocking out and put on the canvas. So I'm very dangerous, and he should be aware of that. I mean, but he's already aware of that because when he was the WBO champion, we had talks of fighting, but after my devastating knockout with Gerald Washington, he ran the other way. So, you know, I was supposed to be unified champion years ago. But none of these champions that had the belt ever gave me the opportunity. I was the one giving everybody else opportunities, because of a blessing and a curse that I have in the right hand. So here we are again, another time, another place, and another date. You know, so may the best man win when it comes to the Day of Reckoning on December the 23rd.
Are you looking to steal the show, though, on December the 23rd with that spectacular knockout? Is that the fight?
Oh, man.
Is that the impact?
I'm just, you know, Garrett, I'm just looking to put on a great performance. You know, I'm not looking to steal anything. You know, I don't steal nothing. You know, I earn everything that I have, you know. So I'm not looking to steal anything. You know, the proof is in the pudding, and everything is gonna lay where it stands. You know what I mean? And I'm just looking to put on a great performance for my debut in Saudi Arabia. That's it. No more, no less. You know, everything else has just come with me.
Have you visualized a certain round where you're going to get the job done?
Yeah, many times. I mean, throughout the fight, you know, I don't think this is going to be a long, drawn-out fight, if you ask me. You know, I think it's going to be over with before you know it. I'm the type of fighter that you sit on the edge of your seat. That's the thing that everyone knows me as. You know, you got to be ready when Wilder fight. You can't go to the bathroom. You can't go get nothing to eat. You can't turn your head and talk to your neighbor because at any given moment, at any given time, it can be over with.
One genuine thing I must ask, 26 months, 1 round, 1 camp, 14 months since the last fight. Does that bother you at all? I don't call it inactivity because you've been waiting for the right fight, but does that bother you? Does that at 39, 38?
No, it doesn't bother me at all. You know what I mean? I always tell people my body hasn't been there, but my mind never left. You know, although I haven't been in competition, but I've been in the gym. I've been training. I mean, you know, people just haven't seen me, you know, do these things. I'm not big on social media. I don't go on social media all the time. I'm not that, you know, I got so much other things that I do that I don't find the time for it. So, you know, but that don't mean anything to me. You know, I'm ready to go. When you're able to do the things in training and translate what you do in training to sparring, that's when you know you're ready. And I am ready. I'm ready more so than ever.
When I saw you in London, you had a very happy vibe. I saw you on that Sunday night before the press conference on Monday night. I'm fascinated by what you've talked about, where in this time away, you've had an ayahuasca retreat. Can you talk to me about that and what it did for you? You said it's given you a different vibe.
Man, ayahuasca has been, man, it's been one of the top 3 in my life that I'm glad that I experienced, or I took that journey upon to experience. You know, it's been a beautiful thing for me. And if you ask my wife, she'll say that it made me more sensitive. And she's probably right, you know, but it also have made me happier as well. You know, I find myself appreciating even the smallest little thing, and not saying that I didn't before, but the appreciation level has increased, you know. And ayahuasca has done some beautiful things for a lot of individuals, not only just including myself, but for a lot of different individuals, whether it brought confirmation to their life, whether it brought happiness to their life, or some type of understanding of their path that they're running in their life. You know, it's been amazing, you know, ayahuasca. And I'm looking forward to doing it, you know, many, many more times. I'm actually looking to do it after this fight as well, you know. And I always invite people to come to Rhythmia. That's the place that I go up in Costa Rica. It's a place called Rhythmia. It's a beautiful place. And I advise everybody, if you're looking for something different, something new to experience in your life, something, you know, you're waiting for some type of answer or a calling of something, you know, I invite you to ayahuasca. You know, sometimes people get very fearful and afraid of certain things, or how is it, or what it's going to be, or you know, sometimes people don't want to know certain things, or they may not want to see certain things. But, you know, ayahuasca is not a place where you think you're going to see what you're going to see what you think you're going to see. In this place, you may not get what you want, but you'll leave with what you need.
A lot of people talk about an effect of rebirthing on them and all of that kind of thing when they have it. They feel a different spirit inside them, or they even go back into past lives. What did you do? Did you imbibe? Did you smoke? How did you take your ayahuasca?
They made the medicine on site. The DMT, they made it on site. And so we would drink it and consume it that way through mouth. And it was just a beautiful experience. An experience I highly recommend everyone to try it out. I really do. You know, it really have helped me in my life. I am one of the most happiest people I know in life. You know, no matter what people may say or what they may be on the outside looking in, I am one of the most happiest people in the world that I know, you know, and God is good.
You get victory on December the 23rd. Do you believe Anthony Joshua beats Otto Wallin, and do you want to face Joshua next? Or I hear whispers of a fight potentially with 4-ounce gloves, or in a cage, or in a boxing ring with Francis Ngannou. What do you think about Joshua and Wallin, first of all, that fight? And what would you do next?
I mean, I like that fight between those two guys, and you know, may the best man win when it come out. You know, I think Joshua's gonna. I see him winning the fight if his mind is in the right place.
If his mind is in the right place. What brilliant words from Deontay Wilder. Now, we talk about mind in the right place. That guy has fought 1 round in 26 months. His last fight was 1 round against Robert Helenius, November last year. The year before that was the Tyson Fury defeat, 11 rounds. What a fight. We were there. One of the greatest heavyweight fights of all time. I love his confidence. That's when you listen to Deontay. I mean, and obviously I know him, but when you listen to Deontay and he opens up, but when you listen to him full flow, that is a man, we talked about confidence, who totally believes in himself.
Listen, he totally oozes confidence. You know, the fight that I was trying to think of when I was talking about it before was Richard Riakporhe, by the way. You know, a guy that we've seen grow and believe in his own ability.
Yeah. This is a different level.
Deontay Wilder's always had it. He's on another level. The first time he he got beat by Tyson Fury, you think, wow, that was such a punishing defeat. Can he come back from that?
What, you mean in Los Angeles?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it was a draw.
No, the first time he got beat. The first time
he got beaten up in 7 rounds.
Forget the draw. The first time he got beat with fight 2, he took a pounding.
But he didn't accept it, did he?
No.
Fury was cheating.
Gareth,
Fury did this to him. Fury did that to him. He wouldn't believe it, would he?
He didn't believe it. Then he gets done again. And you think, wow, that was punishing. Can he be? The guy just oozes confidence. You know, he's one of those fighters that just, and then you see him come back, and we saw the Robert Helenius first round KO. Yes, he's been inactive, but I wouldn't read too much into that inactivity with Deontay Wilder because he believes in himself so much.
Well, that's how people are talking Joseph Parker up in this fight. What a fight we have. We're going to talk more about Deontay Wilder, Day of Reckoning, Joseph Parker's opportunities. You've spoken to him this week. Can't wait to hear that interview shortly. Josh Kelly, by the way, has won by 3rd round knockout. TKO against Placido Ramirez de Colombia. Tío, ¿qué ha pasado?
I called it. I absolutely called it. You know, Ramirez, tough, strong, comes forward, comes to have a fight. 17 KOs out of his 24 victories. But guess what? Too slow, too predictable. Kelly's too smart.
Statement. We will try and get Josh Kelly and his promoter, Calla Sowland. If we can get the signal at the Beacon of Light, what a light he's just created. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave.
Online,
on your mobile,
on the app,
and on your smart speaker.
Christmas 2023 on talkSPORT. talkSPORT.
With the latest headlines just after 10 o'clock, I'm Jeremy Leeburn. Luton say captain Tom Lockyer's in a stable condition in hospital after collapsing on the pitch earlier today. Their Premier League game at Bournemouth was abandoned midway through the second half. Adrian Durham and Perry Groves were covering the match for talkSPORT and say it was an emotional afternoon.
Part of me feels really joyous that actually Tom Lockyer is okay.
Yeah, very much so. It's just a feeling of relief, to be honest.
Elsewhere, it seems the 10-point Premier League points deduction has galvanised Everton, who've won for a fourth consecutive time, emerging 2-0 winners at Burnley in the Sean Dyche derby. Earlier, Manchester City conceded a late penalty in a 2-2 draw at home to Crystal Palace. Newcastle arrested their recent poor run with a 3-0 win over 10-man Fulham, and Chelsea were 2-0 winners over bottom side Sheffield United. To Scotland, and Celtic's 52-game unbeaten home run in the SPL was ended with a 2-0 defeat to Hearts, while in the Championship, Ipswich missed the chance to go top after their 2-2 draw at home to bitter rivals Norwich in what was talkSPORT's live commentary at lunchtime. Leicester remained top with their game in hand at Birmingham, live on talkSPORT 2 on Monday night. And England's cricketers are still alive in their T20 series in the West Indies after a dramatic 7-wicket victory in Grenada, which was live on talkSPORT 2.
Brook facing, 3 needed from 2. Russell's in, and Harry Brook wins the game for England. Another swing of the bat.
Cricket editor John Norman calling the winning shot there from Brook after England successfully chased down the mammoth target of 223. Opener Phil Salt top scored with an unbeaten century. England trailed 2-1 in the 5-match contest with 2 matches remaining. The 4th one is live on talkSPORT 2 next Tuesday from 8 p.m.
talkSPORT News.
It's understood that 17-year-old Alex Batty has returned to the UK 6 years after disappearing on holiday in Spain. And Israel says 3 hostages mistakenly killed by their own forces had been holding a white flag.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. We're here for every journey in the future with over 300 EV train centres. Find your local EV train centre at quickfit.com and drive away happy every time.
Cloudy for most, with light rain in western areas, although heavy showers are expected to continue in northwest Scotland.
Online, DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Get in the ring and go the distance with Fight Night.
The fight starts now.
With Gareth A. Davies.
I don't think he's going to get up.
On talkSPORT, the home of boxing.
Welcome back to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth A. Davies, and him, Spencer the Omen Oliver. Still to come, we'll hear from Joseph Parker, who faces Deontay Wilder in Riyadh next Saturday night at the Day of Reckoning. We are there, of course. We're hoping to speak to Josh Kelly following his 3rd round KO of Placido Ramirez just now in Sunderland, and maybe his promoter Kalle Sauerland. Plus, cruiserweight Alois Jr. is in the studio with us. All that plus much, much more. This is Fight Night on talkSPORT. Drum roll. Yes, we're coming in. We are here. It's Fight Night. Spencer Oliver's in the studio. We're getting queued up. We're just enjoying the music. Remember, you can see us making absolute moving fools of ourselves in the studio right now, live on YouTube. I know, speak for myself. I know.
Listen,
I know,
mate,
but
we are
you can...
making shapes here, baby.
All right, okay.
Come on.
I didn't want to boast.
Come on.
I didn't want to boast.
We are making the Christmas shapes.
You know, I'm going to make some shapes on New Year's Day at the Ministry of Sound as well.
Oh, wow.
That playlist has gone out again and again and again this year. And New Year's Day, and you're welcome to come as one of my VIP guests.
Are we going Ministry?
We're going Ministry.
Wow.
2 p.m. till 9 p.m. Definitely going, which means I might even go to bed at midnight after a little bit of tequila and a little bit of champagne and just have a nice sleep, club through the afternoon. Love a bit of day clubbing. Anyway, on with the Fight Night show. Last weekend, Spencer, we saw a performance for me from Devin Haney against Regis Prograis in the United States, of which a level we've not seen from him yet. We saw him win all the lightweight belts with 2 fantastic performances against George Kambosos. One, a dancing matador. The second, an aggressive destroyer. Then And for me, he's the fighter of the year, by the way, Devin Haney, because of last week's performance. Then we saw a clever performance, a close performance against the maestro that is the older man in that lightweight division, Vasyl Lomachenko. But last weekend, we saw a modern master paint the canvas, in my view. It was a brilliant performance against Regis Prograis. I always thought it was great matchmaking, always thought he'd win on points. But this young man, Devin Haney, is approaching the beginning of greatness. Am I fair to say I saw some shapes that looked a little bit like Floyd Mayweather?
Absolutely. I think that you're fair to say that I think that we are witnessing modern day greatness, and and
the start of it, maybe.
Listen. Yeah, it is. It's a case of how far can he go? How good can he be? 135 was always a struggle for him, and I think
lightweight
against Vasily Lomachenko in that fight that was very, very close, and he looked very fragile at certain times. At the end,
yeah.
But he was way too big. Do you know he weighed in? This is the super lightweight division, 140 pounds. At the time he got into the ring, he was 168 pounds, I believe.
He looked
by the
big.
time he got into the ring,
that is a super middleweight.
I don't know how he ever made the lightweight division, and I think that affected his performance.
Well, because he's 24, that's why. And he's been a pro since he was 16.
I think it affected his performance. I think that there was a lot of concern about him moving up to 140, and would he carry that same speed, power, agility that he has? And the answer is yes. Regis Prograis is a very good fighter.
He's very tough.
He made
very good, and a
very good fighter look very pedestrian. I mean, we remember Regis Prograis, 2019, Josh Taylor at the O2 Arena, one of the best technical fights.
Nip and tuck, wasn't it?
Nip and tuck all the way. A fight that I thought that Prograis may have just nicked, actually. That's the sort of level where you're at. And the way that Devin Haney dealt with him, every single round, he had him down in the third round, he had him rattled in the sixth round. He beat him up for 12 rounds.
120, 107.
Yep.
All three judges scored
He won every
was
round.
down in the third, like you say, won every round. First fight as super lightweight as well.
Much more suited to him, by the way.
Yeah, it is, but I think he can go up through the weight divisions. For me now, even though he won't have 5 super fights in a row, I'd love to see him in with Ryan Garcia, which is a big money fight. Gervonta Tank Davis, who I think he might be too big for.
He's too big for
Teofimo Lopez, imagine that.
Beautiful fight.
I know. And then Shakur Stevenson as well.
Absolutely.
If he can have those 4 fights in the next 2.5 years, he becomes one of the great stars of American boxing. I think alongside Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis as well.
Do you know what, Gareth?
And Lopez.
Listen, you're on form tonight. I'll tell you why you're on form tonight, because you're mentioning names there, and one that you really dug out there, Shakur Stevenson, who I think, is a future pound-for-pound star as well. Him and Shakur Stevenson is the most sexy fight out there right now. I think that Devin Haney's proved himself. Moving to 140 super lightweight limit is a massive plus for him. I think he's shown how good he is. How far can he go? I think he goes to welterweight. I think he even goes to super
middleweight.
Because he's a big guy.
Yeah.
He's a very big guy that's growing all the time, and I think he goes through those weight divisions.
Great story to tap into as well, though, because his father wanted him to turn. It was his own promoter at the age of 20.
Sure.
Bill Haney, his father, had some long conversations with. They're very smart. They're great negotiators. That he will develop that crowd. See, the great thing about him is you can enjoy what he does without him being a knockout artist, and that's the sign of greatness for me.
Yeah.
In terms of being able to draw fans, because I think the last 6 or 7 of his fights have been by points decision, and you wondered whether he'd be able to draw a crowd. I think he will start stopping people as he gets bigger as well, because he carries power.
Floyd Mayweather late on in his career didn't stop many people. He
when he first fought Gennaro Hernandez and those guys, he was a very aggressive, come forward fighter. But as he got older, in his late 20s,
people appreciate the sweet science.
They
and
do.
I think
That's
when
exactly
you
the
see
word,
it like
sweet
that,
science.
the people appreciate the sweet science, the shoulder rolls that he had, like Mayweather-esque, rolling the shoulder, the quick hand speed, like drilling the right hands through the middle. Regis Prograis, tough, durable guy, loves to get down in the trenches. He got rocked on a number of occasions, and I think he was just grateful to hear the final bell. I think Prograis recognised just how good Haney is. I think for us, though, the beauty of what we've got to look forward to is we don't know how good he can be.
I think he's going to be very, very good.
Yeah, I'll give you one. I've got a question for you. Gervonta Davis, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, Lomachenko, all this little pack of fighters, all these decent,
and
Shakur as well, Shakur Stevenson. Who's the best of a lot of them, or who will develop to be the best?
I think I think it will come down to who is the best between Shaka Stevenson and Devin Haney.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
And I've always been...
But then again, Tank Davis.
Yeah, but I've always been
So
big on
hard to write him
Shaka.
off.
Yeah, but Tank's too small. Tank's too small. What I'm saying is Tank won't grow much bigger than where he's at now, whereas Haney will.
Devin Haney's name was in the news here in the week as well, on Eddie Hearn's lips, of course, when they were thinking about... He's teased it out there, Conor Benn against Devin Haney. But you could bring Devin Haney here, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
I said to Bill Haney in the I don't know when it was in the late summer when I was over there for Teofimo Lopez and Josh Taylor. I think it was late summer in New York. It might have been September. Why not come and have a fight in the UK?
Sure.
I said the same to Deontay Wilder, by the way, and he says, I know, man, every time I go, I'm treated like a pop star, like a rock star. There's no doubt that Devin Haney would be so well celebrated here.
Yep.
Him against Conor Benn is a stadium fight.
Yeah,
it's a great fight because that's Bull and Matador. What time did you go to bed last night? Because you lost in the darts.
I lost.
Sorry
in the,
to
oh
bring
no!
it up.
Oh yeah, I lost in the darts. You know, Ben.
But wait, so
Ben
did you go home with your tail between your legs?
11 p.m. I was
say good night, Nicola, and went to bed.
11 p.m. I was out cold in bed, fast asleep.
Right. So you didn't see Jake Paul live then, no?
No, but I watched. I watched it. I watched it on
this morning.
This morning. Yeah.
Okay. So first round knockout of Andre August. Uppercut knockout.
Set it up beautifully. He set it up beautifully.
Rather like Josh Kelly did with the jab and the right uppercut.
It was identical
to what Josh Kelly did against Placido Ramirez.
Fed the jab, whooped the uppercut through the middle. Right, that is a very difficult shot not to see, but it's also a very dangerous shot to throw because you leave yourself wide open for the right hand. So you've got to get the timing to perfection, and it was very similar. Yeah, the knockout was exactly the same.
All he wanted to do was put himself back on course. I know it sounds absurd to be a world champion in boxing. You've got to have some kind of admiration for Jake Paul. Hold it there. Hold your darts there as well, because I'm very disappointed in you. I wanted to be in that tournament because I'd have whopped you.
I bottled it on the 18. I'm not going to lie.
You've shown me all the clips and everything. Honest to God, he got in tonight and all he did was talk about the darts.
I've let myself
last
down.
night. You have let yourself.
I'm questioning myself.
You let me down.
I'm questioning myself.
You let down the fight team.
I'm not sure what person I am anymore.
Hold it there. Keep your confidence, yeah? But before we continue, let's cross over to the beautiful Welsh voice of Sian Price. Diolch, Sian, who's at Ali Pali watching the World Darts Championships.
Diolch, Gareth. Yes, it's Scott Williams who is 1 set away from the second round. He leads 2-0 against Japan's Haruki Muramatsu. Williams' nickname Shaggy is on his flights, by the way, apparently a reference to Scooby-Doo. And what a match we've got to finish this evening. The 2-time world champion Gary Anderson takes on a world championship runner-up, Simon Whitlock. And this will be the 45th time the players have faced each other, and their first match going all the way back in 2006, so that should be an absolute cracker. And you can listen to live commentary of tonight's matches over on talkSPORT 2.
Well, it's the darts, it's Scooby-Doo. That was Sian Price. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT in partnership with William Hill. Get epic value all season with William Hill. 18 plus, be gamble aware. In just a second, up next, Joseph Parker interviewed by Spencer Oliver.
Christmas 2023 on talkSPORT. Tinsel, turkeys, and traditional live football.
Lovely ball, brilliant goal!
Christmas 2023
I'd say it was one of the best Christmas days ever.
on talkSPORT.
The heavyweight division is nothing without Deontay Wilder, and that ain't trying to be cocky or trying to be, you know, boastful. That's just straight facts.
Big right hand that connected by Wilder. Oh, down goes Fury. Left hook. Oh, my goodness.
Wilder hit Brazil so hard, they are feeling it in Brazil. Mamma mia, what a KO.
Listen, I take the best fights and the biggest fights, and I don't shy away from challenges. And I feel that Deontay, a lot of people are wary of him and, you know, scared of the right hand that he possesses, but I'm all in, and I'm all for it.
Seemingly in trouble, nearly a clash of heads as he invites Joseph Parker in. Another uppercut, and that scores a devastating knockdown.
You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth A, Davies, and him, the menace, the Omen, Spencer Oliver. But Spencer, who's not a menace, he's definitely an omen, though. Caught up with former WBO World Heavyweight Champion Joseph Parker, who you heard there earlier this week, ahead of his fight with Deontay Wilder on the Day of Reckoning in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, next Saturday. Spence started by asking him how the New Zealander is finding it out in Saudi Arabia.
The weather's not as warm as it was back in October when we were here for the last event and the last fight. And because we'll be fighting late at night, we're trying to adjust everything according to fight time. You know, usually back in England, I'll be waking up at 7 o'clock, breakfast at 7:30, whereas now waking up at midday, breakfast at 1 p.m., train at 3 p.m., lunch at 5, and it just carries on. And then we're training at 1 a.m. So it's a lot different, but I think it's important to train the time that you fight, and that's the time that you're going to be performing.
I mean, tell us about the setup out there, you know, the training schedules, etc. I mean, you've got a lot of you guys out there, a lot of heavyweights out there. Is there a routine for the training? Do you all use gym at the same time, or is there allocated times for the gym?
I'm not sure that there's a lot of fighters here, even leading into the fight. I think I'm probably one of the first ones to get out here. We got the gym to ourselves. We're using the Mike Tyson gym, which is awesome. It's got everything it's got rings, it's got bags, it's got speed, everything that you need and you want. And the gym is shut down at the time that we're training. So we're very thankful to them who have organised for us to use this gym.
I mean, Joe, I want to talk about the promo. That promo, and I saw that you posted it actually on your Instagram. I mean, that is insane, isn't it? Like, have you ever seen or been involved in anything like that before?
You know what? I've never been involved. Just like boxing my whole life, I've never seen anything like this. And now, like, when we went to shoot the ad and the promo video, it was like, makeup, and then like you had to do so many takes, and it was, I think it was a great experience. And like you can see the outcome of the promo. It's probably one of the best I've seen.
I mean, let's talk about your fight with Deontay Wilder, December the 23rd. Huge opportunity for you, Joe. It really is. You go in as the underdog, but a huge opportunity.
It's a great opportunity. You know, in boxing, you want to be involved in the biggest and the best fights. And the only way to get to the right at the top, to fight for a title, fight for a world title, is to fight the best fights out there. I've been busy this year, and the level of opposition hasn't been the same as Wilder. But keeping busy, I was able to progress, and I was able to get that ring time. And now I'm really much pumped for this fight with Deontay Wilder. Really much looking forward to it.
Sure. I mean, you boxed 3 times this year, like you say. It's vitally important, you know, for a heavyweight to stay active like that. Deontay Wilder, on the other hand, has only boxed once in the last 2 years since the Tyson Fury defeats, and that was against Helenius, a first-round KO. How important is that for a fighter to be active or inactive?
I feel it's very important to be active because you're always working. You're always progressing. You're always getting better. You're working on your ring craft, technique, skills, and you're able to, you're not trying to get in shape because you're already in shape. I think with Wilder, with him having that long time off, we'll soon see if he has that thing called ring rust, which I know a lot of fighters do have when they haven't fought for a long time.
Someone that knows Deontay Wilder very well, Tyson Fury, he's boxed him a few times. You obviously train up there with Fury. Has he give you any tips on his strengths, his weaknesses, how to beat him?
Tyson was able to give me some advice and some knowledge on fighting Deontay Wilder. The only difference is I'm not 6'9" with the longest reach, so whatever my strengths, I have to use it to the best of my ability, you know. And he has given me a few pointers, and he's given me advice, and he's actually helped me with sparring. So every time I have needed Tyson's help, he's always been there. So listen, thanks to him for always making time to help me, and especially for this camp and this fight coming up.
Sure. I mean, listen, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia are investing massively in heavyweight boxing. On that same card, we've got Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin. Who do you fancy in that one, Joe? Wallin's a potential banana skin. It's a risky fight for Joshua, but a fight obviously he has to take, with what's planned for the future.
I think it's a risky fight. I think Wallin's come off a good win, and he's always he's one of them fighters who's been looking for these big fights. And now that he's locked in this big fight, this is his big chance. Joshua's a massive name. And I think with Joshua, he has to come in, and I think coming off a few fights with Usyk, he'll be well more prepared for the southpaw that Otto's going to bring.
And as I said to you, Joe, there's been talk of like March the 9th, Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, etc. You're there to tear up the script. You're there to do your job. If Otto Wallin beats Joshua or you beat Deontay Wilder, just so the fans know, does that mean the winner boxes the winner? Is that where we're at?
Listen, I would think so. Look, if they're trying to lock in the Joshua and Wilder fight, I guess if Wallin wins or if I win, it will change the whole script of what they're trying to set up.
Joseph Parker, tell us, how does the fight go, mate? How do you tear up the script? How do you tear up the plans for Deontay?
If I'm going to go on there, like I said, I'm going to be with the supreme confidence. And I've done the work, I'm in shape, and I'm ready to go. And I'm going to be very calculated. There's no wasteful punches. I'm going to be deliberate. I'm going to make him miss, and I'm going to make him pay. That's what I'm going to do.
Always love the complete honesty of Joseph Parker there. And you had to ask him some difficult questions in a way, because he is the guy in the way of the fight that the fans want to see, which is Joshua against Wilder. Like Otto Wallin's in the way of people seeing those two guys meet. We've spoken about it for 5 years. It's one of the most attractive, enticing fights in heavyweight boxing. And he spoke, Joseph did, and we've both known him a long time, calculated. That's the only way he wins this, by game plan, Andy Lee cleverness from the Furies and Sugar Hill Stewart, all that thinking to get him there.
Discipline. It all comes down to discipline, and he has to stay disciplined and switched on for 3 minutes of each round. He totally recognises that. He knows exactly what he's got in front of him. But he's also, Gareth, feeding off the fact, and you mentioned it there, he's feeding off the fact that, yes, I am going to rip up the script. I'm going to put myself back in the mix here. And I think that, he's getting a lot from that. I think that it's giving him added confidence with sparring with Tyson Fury, talking to Tyson Fury, finding out the strengths and the weaknesses of Deontay Wilder. I know it's all good and said that, but he's got to, once that right hand detonates
Avoid
and
the
lands.
left hook and the right hand.
But
it's not going to be a jabbing contest with
But what I'm
Deontay,
saying is it's always good to have that added confidence going in there, that self-belief that we've been talking about. And I think that he's got that. Andy Lee's a great tactician, by the way, as well. They'll come up with a great game plan. It's interesting.
He's also got the best, and he was at an event that we were covering with talkSPORT. I remember John Rawling and you were doing the commentary that night, and myself and Adam Cattrall were there, that physically he's in the best shape of his life as well. There's no excess fat on him. He's very, very lean. He's got Tyson Fury's chef and nutritionist working with him. That move into that Fury camp is not just rubbing shoulders with Tyson Fury and getting the electricity that he may give off. It's about... He's a really disciplined guy, Joseph Parker.
Absolutely.
He's very happy over here. I still think it's a mountain to climb.
Yeah, I agree.
But he has been the WBO heavyweight champion of the world, and he's got it in him to do it again. And he's got it in him that people are critiquing him, that he's that level below Fury, Usyk, Wilder and Joshua, that he's just that level below. He can prove that wrong against a guy who's 30 in his 39th year, who's boxed one round in 26 months.
Absolutely, and all those factors that you just stated there, that's what Joseph Parker's feeding off. You got to remember, this guy comes from New Zealand. He won the world title over there. He's packed up. He's packed his suitcases, come over, moved up to Morecambe. That shows you commitment. That shows you hunger. That shows you drive. And all of that will come out against Deontay Wilder, because he will recognise that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is opening up the floodgates to this heavyweight like Super League, and that's basically what it is, because we know that the winner is going to box a winner and it's going to go on. It's like a little mini tournament, really.
It's starting, yeah.
Absolutely. And so he'll recognise that, this is a huge opportunity, and he'll go out there and give it everything. One thing we know about Joseph Parker is he's very durable. He pulled himself off the floor against Dylan White. We saw him there. We saw him against Joseph Parker, where he pulled himself through some torrid times before getting knocked out. What I'm saying is he will give it, and I'm looking forward to it, Gareth, because it's a little bit of the unknown.
That you could, just a reminder, you can watch Spencer Oliver pulling lots of faces live on the YouTube channel right now as he gets right into this thing, because we are looking at the day
I'm in it, baby.
I know you are.
I'm
you
in
can
it.
watch us live on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel right now, up until midnight we're here. Up next, we have Cruiserweight Alloy. I'm disappointed we're not going to the darts, if I'm honest. But all I'm saying is I'm disappointed.
You just want to speak to Pricey, mate.
I just want to speak to Sean
on.
Price again, yeah. Listen, we've got Cruiserweight Alloys Jr. in the studio. What a story he is. One of Frank Warren's boxers, promoted by Frank Warren, but coached and trained by Ben Davison. This is Fight Night on talkSPORT, where we bring you the very best 3 hours of action in partnership with William Hill. Get epic value all season with William Hill. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
talkSPORT Drive.
Weekday afternoons from 4 on talkSPORT.
With me, Darren Benn, and Andy Goldstein.
Unrivaled, opinionated comment from the biggest names in sport.
Insane acceleration, outstanding pace, next generation slipstream sport.
High performance afternoon radio with more goal talk to the gallon.
Belt up and listen.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent.
Weekday afternoons from 4 on talkSPORT.
The fastest football on the way home.
Slow the feet down, and that's when you can then go to work. But again, Gurkic, he started the round pretty quick. Oh, what a shot from Alois Jr.
Your winner by knockout, Alois the Animal Jr.
You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth A. The Omen, or the Menace as I'm now calling him, Spencer Oliver, in the studio with me. But we've been joined by that man who was just being commentated on. He's known as the Animal. Physically, in his presence, he's an absolute beast. We've just been having photos. This is a big guy. It's powerhouse cruiserweight prospect, Alois Jr. Well, not really a prospect, developing now. So great to have you in the studio.
It's a great honour to be here, and I'm extremely thankful. I've watched a lot of videos on talkSPORT, so yeah, including the Fabio Awardi and whatnot. But yeah, it's a great honour.
Tell us about the beginnings for you. Why do you fight?
Oh my goodness, I could go on and on.
Yeah, no, go on and on.
Where did it start? Where did it start?
I'll go deeper into my life story, my life experience. So, when I was younger, a lot of trauma. I'd say a lot of rough things happened when I was a kid in terms of like parenting and etc.
Where are you growing up?
I grew up in southeast London, Penge. So it's like around Crystal Palace for those people that don't know where Penge are. And yeah, the greatest way I could put it is my father went to prison when I was quite young, and when he came out of prison, my only bonding time with my father was a fighting game called Fight for New York, and this game, it had all sorts of fighting tricks on it. And I really, really loved it. And again, it was a great way to bond with my father. And I started picking up the tricks on it. And I was only in like year 5, year 6.
So you're 10, 11.
Around them ages. And one day I decided to try this amazing overhand right hand on a
Sounds
kid
like
my
Mortal
age.
Kombat, this.
Wait, so you're picking up the tricks on a game, but you're doing it yourself, as in inventing yourself into a
Fighter from watching games.
Literally, like
wow, I've never heard that.
Because kids are sponges. They absorb everything. So at my young age, I remember love is the essence of everything. And when I'm with my father, I'm bonding with my father, I want to be able to do what this individual I'm playing is doing. And yeah, I practice it, and then I try it out on a kid. I got in trouble, but the adrenaline I got was so unreal.
Did you find a gym after that then?
We'll get to that. So
I love that.
I tried it, and then the school, I got in very big trouble. My dad asked me what happened. I told him I got into a fight, and then all he asked me was, "Did you win, son?" And I was like, absolutely. And from then it started going on. I had a friend do karate. I wanted to do karate so badly. I put pressure on my parents to bring me karate.
Any reason?
I just
movies were you watching?
By then I just loved fighting. I used to play Fight for New York all the time. Any single fighting games, I used to try it. I used to love WWE. I used to try wrestling moves with my cousins. They used to cry and whatnot, but it was still fun.
Any sort of martial art, basically, yeah.
Anything, fighting.
Any sort of contact, any sort of sport.
I wanted that contact. I loved the contact.
Were you hench like you are now when you were a kid?
I was always big. I was always big as a kid. I wasn't as obviously big as I am today, but yeah, I was quite big.
How does it make you feel, Gareth, seeing a guy all toned and you being like that?
Gareth is quite strong himself, you know.
Really?
I felt his biceps.
Hey, all right, I might be old. The thing is with Spencer, he does this. Because the point is, what he does, no, he's passive aggressive. What he does is, he draws me in. He knows he's going to beat me up anyway, yeah? Because he's got all the footwork. We've done it late night in Poland, honestly.
Wow.
So
yeah.
Have you ever had
Polish vodka though?
No, I don't really drink, to be honest.
but he's missed that point out. Yeah, but go on.
No, this
Go
is
on,
true.
continue.
We can go into losing phones and all sorts.
Yeah,
here.
we can.
The point being, about your physicality, you were expressing yourself.
Exactly.
But you didn't know you were a fighter at that point.
Nope.
You're very raw.
Extremely raw. I'm still raw to this day, to be fair. I'm still learning myself.
But that's one of your strengths, by the way, because that unpredictability wins, and that's one of your strengths. That is one of your, and I don't think you'll lose that rawness, even when you get more refined as a fighter.
It's also exciting.
That rawness and that unpredictability is what makes you who you are, and I think that that's your style, and I think that that's going to be one of your main strengths.
He's also. Why are you so fearless? You're known as a fearless fighter as well. Where does that come from?
That is a great question. I would say more or less.
It's true though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's more or less my life. Like
I was going to say, life.
I've always seek challenges. I've always wanted to be the best in all aspects of my life, and even if it's education. Despite me not passing my school, I still took time out of my day to educate myself.
You can tell that you're so well spoken.
Thank you.
So well spoken, so articulate. That's the thing that comes across to me. I think as you get older as well, you'll be able to articulate your violence in the ring, if I can call it violence.
Yeah, it's chess, really. I like to play a lot of chess, and it's all decision making. As you grow older, you know more, and you can use that experience and make it bounce back to you.
Is it fair then, without putting this on you? I mean, because boxing does and fight sports do change people, and they do put you under pressure, and they do help you grow. Has a struggle gone on in your life?
Struggle, listen, adversity builds a man, you know?
From this big, I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Dad not being there,
yeah,
and those things.
It all, because I don't fold. I don't fold on things. I don't fold on people. That's not my characteristics. I've had that from the ages I could think, to be fair. And yeah.
The struggles are a making of a fighter. A lot of times, you know,
like losing your first fight and then bouncing back with, what is it, 5 wins,
5 knockouts.
It's a 5 knockouts. How does it?
But that was an ambitious first fight, by the way, as well. For people that don't
Talk to
know,
us about that
strong
and how it
Polish
felt.
guy, unbeaten in 3.
Yeah, okay.
Why did you take such a hard fight for your
I'll
debut?
tell you the story. I have all sorts of stories. In regards to that story, the day prior, that's obviously I took the fight in 24 hour notice.
Michael Zazinski.
Yeah, Michael Zazinski.
Polish, yeah.
Yep.
York Hall.
3-0.
No pressure.
3-0.
No pressure.
None. So I finished 2 sessions the day before. And I'm chilling now. I'm chilling. I'm shattered to pieces. I trained extremely hard when I was 18 years old. And I'm wrestling, I'm eating whatever I'm eating, I forgot what I was eating, and then I get a call from my...
You're wrestling as well?
Resting.
Oh, resting, okay. I was just checking.
Yeah.
No, I got it.
So I was resting, and I got a call from my manager, Simon Legg. And when he called me, I was like... I was more or less dozing over, and then he called me and he said, I have an opportunity for you, AJ, or Joyce. And... yeah, I can put you in the fight for tomorrow, but to let you know, this guy is a monster. And to be fair, when he said addressed him as a monster, that's when my ego came out, and I was like, monster? Who's a monster? Where's this monster that you speak of? And
I'm bringing the animal.
Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I love that. Yeah, I'm putting my knife and fork down here. I
you know
want some
I mean?
of this.
I can't. Sometimes I can't fathom another monster but myself.
Fearless.
Exactly. And once he sent me his name and I saw him knocked out one guy cold, I was like, this is the individual I want. You know, this is the individual that I want to challenge myself. And listen, once I win this, I'm in a...
It's a 4-rounder as well, and you lose on points, by the way. It's not like it's devastating.
No, it was never.
But it didn't put a dent in you, presumably.
No, it's an experience. Put it like that. It's an experience for me to learn, because life throws all sorts of obstacles in your way, and if you trip and fall and you don't get up, then what type of individual are you?
Mm-hmm. I mean, listen, a loss can be the making of a fighter and the making of a person. Sometimes you need to go there to find yourself, go, back to the drawing board and put, work on the wrongs of a fight. And I think that's probably what you've done, and you've come back with 5 unbelievable knockouts.
If you haven't seen Aloy's fight before, and you don't, and you're listening, you're making your dinner, or you're having a drink at home, or you're preparing with fans for the fights later on tonight. Aloy's, by the way, didn't just walk into a ring. He's won 4 London titles, 2 national titles, international honours, by the way. It's not like you haven't done your time through your teenage years. But you've got a 5-year deal with Frank Warren. That's a long deal and a lot of belief.
Well, Frank's an experienced veteran in this game. He's a phenomenal promoter. And look, he's aware that I have that sauce, you know. The proof's in the pudding.
That sauce.
That's it, that sauce, that groovy.
Frank Warren doesn't give 5-year contracts. Frank's been there, seen it, done it 46 years.
He wants to be with you while you're world champion for 2 or 3 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Like, if I was him, I would have signed me too. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Listen, that shows that he's got a lot of self-belief in you, and you know where he sees you going at such a young age. Frank spots talent. That is one thing that he's very good at, and another thing he's very good at is actually guiding to fighters. You know, right steps at the right times. And I think that's been proven since your first defeat. He's doing a great job, and now people are starting to go, hold a minute, who's this Aloy's geezer? What's going on here? You know.
Yep.
You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT. Aloy's Jr, the cruiserweight prospect, the animal, is in the studio with us. Spencer Oliver is with me. We may hear after the break from Kalle Sauerland, who's at the Beacon of Light, where his fighter Josh Kelly has won by 3rd round TKO tonight. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT.
Christmas 2023 on talkSPORT.
The radio station where Christmas is all wrapped up in lovely live football.
Brilliantly done!
Yo home goals.
And there is the goal!
Christmas 2023 on talkSPORT.
Oh, I love my Saturday night playlist,
man.
don't you?
G,
Yeah,
man.
don't you, Aloys Jr.? Don't you love it? Yeah. Well, this is the trance playlist, of course. You're listening to Fight Night talkSPORT. Aloys Jr., the cruiserweight prospect, in the studio with us. Spencer Oliver, as always, with me. But we're joined by Kalle Sauerland, who's at the Beacon of Light. His fighter, Josh Kelly, just won against Placido Ramir de Colombia in the third round. Pleased for your guy?
Absolutely, Gareth. It was a showreel knockout.
Jab uppercut.
Yeah, it was the uppercut took him off his feet. It was one of them. Absolutely fantastic. Number one in the world, WBO number one. So big 2024 ahead. Even domestic fights mixed with world title fights, hopefully. So very, very excited. Sold out arena, loud crowd up here. First show we've ever done in Sunderland. I can't remember the last pro card up here. You probably remember that better than me, but I can't remember one.
No, I don't.
It's fantastic, I've got to say.
Can you take him to the Stadium of Light with a big fight with like a Tim Tew for the WBO title now? Something like that?
100%. I mean, he's got this huge following up here, and, you know, they really get behind their people as well. Got to say, this is a week before Christmas, you know. I'm a Londoner, but I wouldn't like to be doing a show in London tonight. You know, this is phenomenal to see boxing fans out the week before Christmas. You know, cash isn't the easiest to come by this time of year. Totally get that. And, you know, packed house. Fantastic.
Well, there's a cracker in Riyadh next weekend as well that everyone will be watching, but mainly from him. Let me just ask you finally, because we've got Aloys Jr. I don't know if you know him, the brilliant cruiserweight prospect under Frank Warren is in the studio with us right now. He's made his way into talkSPORT Towers tonight. Can you get Chris Eubank a big fight next? Because he's been having a moan at you on Twitter.
It's not the first moan I've had off boxing in 23 years, Gareth. I totally get him. You know, he's frustrated. You know, the one that I think he wanted didn't get made, and that's what it is. You know, and you know, everyone vents their frustrations differently. He tagged me in it, so I'm a bit surprised. I don't know whether he wrote it or someone else, because he's never tagged me in anything before in the last 10 years. But
that's interesting.
That's an interesting one. It's, you know, mysterious. Also mysterious who wrote this letter to the WBO saying that they didn't want the fight. It certainly weren't us. But that's out there on the internet. You can check that out. In terms of the WBO fight, you know, someone from somewhere, maybe it was a fake, I don't know, wrote to the WBO saying they didn't want the Johnny Beck fight. But I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to, you know, we'll speak internally. I get the frustration, totally understand it.
Will he and Conor Benn ever fight in your view?
Will they fight at the right time is more the question, isn't it? You know, we got Khan Brook 5 years later, didn't we? We got Mayweather Pacquiao, or slightly different.
5 years later, we'll probably get Joshua and Wilder 5 years later.
We'll probably get AJ Fury 10 years later. You know, boxing's one of them. You know, it frustrates us, and this today I think is part of, you know, it's frustration, and I get it. I'm also frustrated, but I deal with my frustration in different ways.
Kalle, thank you very much for joining us at this late hour. We're going to get back to Aloys Jr. in the studio.
Good luck to you, mate. Good luck to you.
There we go. World champion in the making.
Listen, I love a cruiserweight. I think I've had 7 or 8 cruiserweight world champions. So it's a fantastic division, Aloys. You enjoy that, mate. I've watched you. You're definitely going to be a world champ. So good luck with that.
Thank you. Much appreciation.
All the best, brother.
Cheers, Kalle. Have a good night.
Cheers, gents. Cheers, Spence.
Cheers, Kalle. Yeah, take care, mate.
And it is always a good night in Sunderland, by the way. Let me go back. Thank you, Spence. Let me go back to you and growing up in Penge, yeah, which is near Crystal Palace, as you rightly point out, in South London. Had you not discovered boxing, you're still only 20. You're clearly a man already, and you've been a man for a long time. Yeah. Had you not discovered boxing, could you have gone down the wrong path?
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, to be fair. Reason being is because an individual like myself, I have immense drive, and when drive is pointed to the wrong direction, it can cause immense destruction.
Mayhem.
Literally. And listen, if you see what I'm doing in the ring now. If that was to someone else, Lord knows what I'd be doing.
Talk to us about working with Ben Davies. And obviously, Alois is a cruiserweight for those who've just joined the show. We're live, by the way, on YouTube if you want to watch us as well, on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel and the talkSPORT channel. You've been working with Ben Davison. In the last 2 months, you'll have been around Anthony Joshua. They've just jetted off to Saudi Arabia. They've just arrived a couple of days ago. Talk to us about Ben. Talk to us about being around Anthony Joshua.
Ben is a phenomenal coach. Absolutely. Hands down, master of master. Also Lee Wiley.
A master of masters. Wait, do you read Sun Tzu? The Art of War? Has he brought that to you as well? The Chinese warlord and wisdom?
Oh, absolutely.
Soothsayer?
Wisdom coincides in all aspects of life, to be fair. And in terms of boxing, I see a lot, like, for instance, in Sun Tzu, it speaks of the war is based off perception. What's the term? Oh, I forgot the term.
Well, war is a series of battles for a start, and you don't need to win them all. I know that he talks about that, and it's all about strategy. And it's, like you say, it is about perception at times.
My bad, I got it. War is based on the art of deception. So deceiving your opponent is basically...
Back to chess.
Yeah, literally back to chess. If you're able to deceive your opponent and mislead your opponent, you can literally land a phenomenal strike. And the individual that I really like that's very good at deception is Canelo. Canelo Alvarez is one of my favorite fighters, and he's very, very good at deceiving fighters.
So Ben doesn't just work on the physicalities of a fighter. He works inside the head as well, like, you know, on the psychological side of it, which you'll know, Alois, and which you're going to find out even more so. You know, that plays a huge part of it. You know, the mindset is a huge part of it, and I think that's the bit that Ben Davison gets. You know, that's the bit that he understands.
I think it's the bit that Alois gets as well.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I think that's what Anthony Joshua's got from Ben Davison since going there. He's grown.
We'll see.
As we know,
we will see.
Yeah, we will.
We will see next week, and I think we will see it. By
exactly
the way,
exactly.
I spoke to Ben yesterday before they were leaving, or Thursday, sorry, before they were leaving, and I hear great things. I know you've probably witnessed them.
Yep. Boxing is a game of chess. You know, the greatest thinker is always the winner.
Did you have some great chats with Joshua when he was there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you do a little bit of body sparring with him or not?
Sadly not, but hopefully.
I was waiting for that. I hope you've done some sparring with him.
I wish, but at this moment in time, he's preparing for a southpaw, and when the time is right, we get it.
I've known this guy a very long time, through thick and thin, and some thick, with his head being operated on, all these things years ago. This guy knows about fighters. Have you got any advice? I'm in awe of this guy tonight, by the way.
I have got advice.
There's something about you that you're going to bring, and I want to follow your journey.
Oh, thank you.
So much. Have you got any advice for him, Spence?
I have got advice, and it's quite simple advice, and I think if you follow this advice, it will carry you a long, long way, and that is, cheats always get found out. Don't leave any stone unturned, because I'll tell you, when I say this, is what I mean by that is, when you get into round 10, it's not about the physicalities in it, it becomes about here, right? But if you miss that run, or you miss that press up, or you miss that sit up, anything, right? Anything, that doubt creeps in. And once doubt creeps in, when you're in the penultimate rounds, 10, 11, 12, trust me, that's the difference between champions and challengers, right? Cheats always get found out. Don't leave any stone unturned, yeah? And that's basically where you're at. Yeah.
Tell us about that mindset. You only get out what you put in. You've got that mindset, haven't you? You're nodding away. I get this. Well, this is your life, isn't it? It's
absolutely.
Your life.
It is my life. I understand very simple things in life. And in terms of that, I know pleasure destroys a man, and hardship makes a man. And if I live according towards this, I'll be a phenomenal athlete, and I'll be a phenomenal influence to society.
Alois, Please come and visit us in the studio again. We are going to follow your career with great interest. It's only the beginning. You're 20 years old. You're only 6 fights into your career. It's going to be a fascinating ride with the animal. Thanks so much for joining us on the show.
Likewise, it's a great honour to be here, and I'm thankful for every single one of you.
Very big character, mate, and that captures the imagination. Stick to doing what you're doing, and remember, don't leave any stone unturned.
Never.
Thank you, Alois Jr. Thank you, Spencer. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT. We'll be back after this.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave, online, on your mobile and on your smart speaker. Christmas 2023 on talkSPORT.
Bring it on.
talkSPORT.
With the latest headlines, just after 11 o'clock, I'm Jeremy Leeburn. It's been confirmed that Luton Town captain Tom Lockyer suffered a cardiac arrest during their Premier League clash at Bournemouth. The match was abandoned with the scores level at 1-1. Perry Groves was at the Vitality Stadium covering the match for talkSPORT. He says the overriding emotion is relief.
If you'd have told us when 65th minute of the game, when Tom obviously fell to the floor, that we'd be in this situation now, I'd have snapped your hand off. Do you know what I mean? You think, yep, well, absolutely, I'll take that, because you end up fearing the worst.
Elsewhere, Everton won for a fourth consecutive time, beating Burnley 2-0 in the Sean Dyche derby at Turf Moor. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City side continued their poor recent form with a 2-2 draw at home to Crystal Palace, while Newcastle returned to winning ways with a 3-0 win over 10-man Fulham, and Chelsea beat table proppers Sheffield United 2-0. Scottish Premiership leaders Celtic suffered back-to-back league defeats after a 2-0 loss at home to Hearts, who climbed to third. Rangers play tomorrow. To the Championship now, and Ipswich remains second after a 2-2 draw with bitter rivals Norwich in what was talkSPORT's live lunchtime commentary. Leicester remain top with their game in hand at Birmingham, live on talkSPORT 2 on Monday night. And England have won their latest T20 international over the West Indies in Grenada tonight. They chased down a huge 223 to win the third match in the series. Phil Salt scored an unbeaten century and praised the side's character.
We've been outplayed a couple of times since we've been out here, and that happens. That's professional sport and that's top-level cricket. That happens. But then to come back and to play like this, you know, when we've got all the pressure in and the noise around us, I'm over the moon.
The series now stands at 2-1 to the West Indies. The fourth match in the series is next Tuesday, live and exclusive on talkSPORT 2. It gets underway at 8 p.m.
talkSPORT News.
It's understood Alex Batty has returned to the UK 6 years after disappearing on holiday in Spain when he was 11 years old. And Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the country is mourning the deaths of 3 hostages mistakenly killed by Israeli forces.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. We're here for every journey in the future with over 300 EV train centres. Find your local EV train centre at quickfit.com and drive away happy every time.
Cloudy for most, with light rain in western areas overnight, but heavy showers persisting in northwest Scotland.
DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Get in the ring and go the distance with Fight Night.
The fight starts now.
With Gareth A. Davies.
I don't think he's going to get up.
On talkSPORT, the home of boxing.
You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth A, Spencer the Omen Oliver in the studio with me. Still to come, we'll look ahead to the Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez versus Sonny Edwards flyweight unification title fight from the United States. I think it's Glendale, Arizona, the home of Rodriguez. What a fight that is likely to be. And we'll look ahead to the massive UFC 296 card in Las Vegas tonight. So much to talk about there. This is Fight Night on talkSPORT. You got the move, Spencer Oliver. Yes, you're listening to Fight on talkSPORT. What a great couple of hours we've just had, and what an impressive individual Alois Jr. is. A lot of interest going towards Saudi Arabia next weekend. All those heavyweight fights. We'll talk about that in this last hour as well. But an amazing fight in America tonight between, arguably, discuss this with me, if Sonny Edwards defeats Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez tonight, who has 11 knockouts in his 18 victories, undefeated as a flyweight. Edwards, of course, has got 20 victories, I think, with 4 knockouts. He's not a punch merchant. If he beats Rodriguez tonight, and for me will become the #1 flyweight in the world, could he be the best pound-for-pound boxer we've got in the UK? And is he starting to be in the top 20 in the world, pound for pound?
Definitely. I think there would definitely be that argument because Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez is a very good fighter, you know, and it's a difficult fight for him. It is a very difficult fight for Sonny. So do it out there on the road. You know, I think that would go down as, you know, a very memorable victory. And that would put him right up there as pound for pound one of the best that we've got right now. And it would put him in the pound for pound rankings.
When he won the world flyweight title 5 fights ago and he's had 4 defences, I was looking at the records of all the guys he's beaten. Mm-hmm. It's 120 wins and 5 losses.
There you go.
With those 5 fights at world title level. That's the kind of level statistics that Josh Taylor, when he was on his great run at 140 pounds, took him to number 6 in the pound-for-pound rankings in the Ring magazine, by the way.
Absolutely.
I think Sonny Edwards is an underappreciated fighter in the UK, and I think this week and in the last few weeks, I'm not criticising what he did under Frank Warren or any other promoters, but under DAZN and Eddie Hearn in this last week, we've got to see him on a different platform, and I think his behaviour is different. His levels of confidence, talking up the fight, getting into Bam Rodriguez at yesterday's weigh-in and at the press conference, telling him that he's running scared. I love all that from Edwards.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a big personality, Edwards, and that's a massive part of the game. People won't understand this, but the build-up to the fight, you know, trying to get into the other guy's head, you know, trying to get inside his head, living there rent-free is so important, because that's where fights are won and lost, you know. And Bam Rodriguez is a super confident guy, but you just feel that Sonny's very clever. He's very, very clever. He knows he's very calculated, knows how to get inside the head. You know, he's been playing that game all week out there, but he's oozing confidence as well. I really like this fight for a number of reasons.
Oh, I'm not going to sleep tonight. I'm staying up for it. I'm staying up for it.
And there's not many fights that we stay up for these days. Like you go,
speak for yourself.
No.
Speak for yourself,
you're all about the tequila and all that. I'm a man now that, as you can see,
you go to bed at 11 p.m. these days.
But
I'm
that's why I look
surprised you're
so
still
good.
awake.
That's why I look so good. You know,
you went to bed at 11 o'clock.
You know,
you are losing it.
That's
wait,
wait, mate. You know, be honest here. You're starting to look like a melted candle a little bit, and I'm looking very good, you know.
You do look very good. Well, listen, let's both look good right now, but let's listen for a moment, because both fighters, Sonny Edwards and Bam Rodriguez, have been speaking in the build-up. Here's Sonny Edwards, but first, Bam Rodriguez.
Yeah, camp's done, training's done. We have the right game plan. Come Saturday night, people will see everything we've been working on, and my hand will be raised in victory, and I'm taking his belt, taking his O, and it's time, man. And I've been waiting for this since June, since it was announced, and I'm just more ready than ever, and I can't wait.
Keep your mouth quiet. I'm going to take your belt on a Saturday, but don't be doing all this. I don't know who I am. The only reason why I've not been terrorizing you from the start is because you would have pulled out, because you are a little bag with a fragile ego, so shut the f***.
He uses everything he can get, like the night that Bam Rodriguez didn't turn up at one of the Joshua fights, when he was invited over to come into the ring and they were going to face them off. I think it was the O2 Arena, I imagine. Everything he can get, any advantage he can take. I mean, I think Bam Rodriguez has looked a bit bemused at times. It may have no effect on him whatsoever, by the way.
No, I think he is getting to him a little bit. I like that edgy approach that he's giving it.
Were you like
no,
that?
I wasn't like that. No, I didn't.
If I'd have trash talked you, you'd have trash talked back.
Go on.
You can't stop yourself.
Show, where would you go with it? Come on, show me how would you
your
go
size for a start in all
departments.
Go.
No, you got to be more insulting than that. Come on.
No, I'm not going any lower than that.
Yeah, you can't.
That's as low as we need
you
to
can't.
go.
Do you know why you can't? Because you're a lover, not a fighter, and that's the difference.
No,
that is the difference, my friend.
Listen, I'd need a proper reason for punching you in the face, and if I did, and if I.
What do you mean?
The truth, I am a lover, not a fighter.
What sort of reason would that be?
No, well, okay, but then it's not boxing anymore.
But I've seen you, like you're a smooth operator, you know. I'm an aggressive. I've got a little man syndrome.
No, listen, the truth is, you put the fear of God into it. Let's go back to Poland, right?
Why do you bring this up again? Rewind, 3 in the morning.
No, it was 4. It was 4 in the morning. You'd lost your phone, left it in the bar. We went back and found your phone. You were the happiest man alive. We get back to the hotel. It's 4:30 in the morning. We're both starving. We order food. So we stand outside the hotel and you show me footwork for about an hour.
Beautiful footwork.
It was.
Wasn't it?
But the thing was,
you
know what? Time in the morning. We hadn't had a lot to drink.
No, but my adrenaline was pumping because you found my phone.
We'd been dancing in a salsa bar. Do you remember all this stuff?
Yeah.
It was at the Daniel Dubois Alexander Usyk fight in Wrocław. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
What a city. Yeah. What a week. By the way.
But like when you know
your footwork. Your footwork that night.
Was it impressive?
Oh, it was unbelievable.
Really?
It was no. It was terrifying because you were going right. Come at me with this.
Yeah.
And then you'd back off and you'd come. Your footwork. I'm not joking, that night, and you know you're boxing inside and out, nuts and bolts. You've lived it all your life. When you're not commentating and talking to people about boxing, which is all the time.
Sure.
you're in the gym and you're training people and you know every little move, and whenever we talk about throwing a hook or throwing a body shot, you show me all the footwork. That night, you went through every punch and every bit of movement.
Can I ask you, was my footwork as good as your footwork in the Cuban bar that night? Because that was some footwork there, baby.
Well,
when we hit that Cuban bar, you know,
I did dance non-stop for 40 minutes.
I
and I took the whole floor.
I just remember looking round over my left shoulder and thinking, who is that over there? Is that John Travolta? Who is that? Oh no, it's Gareth A. Davis. Wow, it was beautiful.
Well, anyway, back to the boxing.
Yes, please.
What a night! What great times we've had in this sport, and that's just one of 1,000.
Boxing creates memories, and that's what I'm saying. What we're getting with these big fights,
bring back memories,
and Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez versus Sonny Edwards is another memory because this is a great fight. It really is a great fight.
Well, it's time now for an odds update with William Hill.
In the Zone on talkSPORT with William Hill. Get epic value all season with William Hill. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Gone on.
Yeah.
Well, joining us now to bring us right up to date with the latest odds is William Hill's Lee Phelps. Lee, what have you got for us?
Yeah, we seem to say it most weeks, don't we? But this is a super fight, and you kind of feel like it deserves a much bigger audience. Sonny Edwards has a strong claim to be the pound-for-pound best British boxer at the moment, but facing a massive test here against Jesse Bam Rodriguez for the IBF and WBO flyweight titles in Glendale, Arizona. Well, they say someone's O has got to go, don't they? Unless, of course, it's a draw. And I wouldn't necessarily rule that out with these two quality fighters. That's 16-1, by the way. But the Texan is the betting favourite here, probably based on his power. He has 11 stoppage wins from his 18 fights. That also means he's fought nearly half as many rounds as Edwards. Look, the records are brilliant, aren't they? With every win being either a stoppage or a unanimous points victory. And you could make an argument that the Brits' list of opponents is better than Bam's, and the KO wins have slowed down as the men in the other corner have improved. So 4 of his last 12 have now gone the distance, Rodriguez. I think that's interesting. Now, if Edwards doesn't succumb to the power, this is about how well he builds points and which style the judges prefer. Points win for Sonny Edwards has been enhanced from 15-8 to 9-4, and I'm going to stick with that in a very tight, brilliant fight.
That was a look at the latest odds, thanks to Lee Phelps and William Hill. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
In the Zone on talkSPORT with William Hill. Get epic value all season with William Hill. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Christmas 2023 on talkSPORT. Full-on festive football. Yo-ho goals.
Fantastic goal!
Happy Christmas, talkSPORTers.
Bit of appreciation here, Spence.
This is the one.
This
takes me back.
This is a tune.
This takes me
Fight
back.
night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth A, Davies, Spencer the Omen Oliver in the studio with me. Coming up in this last hour, we're going to talk Day of Reckoning, December 23rd in Riyadh. We're both heading out there early next week. We're going to talk UFC 296. Spencer doesn't watch a lot of mixed martial arts, but there's some great stuff to talk about in the build-up to several Brits being involved on the card over there. None more so than Leon Edwards defending his UFC welterweight crown against Colby Covington. It's caused quite a stir this week. We have had a great night in the UK. Josh Kelly, to me, looked fantastic. Jab, uppercut to finish the fight. You and I have had a bit of fun tonight. You know, technically, how every punch should be thrown. He really impressed you tonight, didn't he, with that finish in the third round?
Listen, he set it up. He was controlling the space. He was in with a dangerous guy with a big knockout ratio, so he couldn't take any chances. Josh Kelly, you know, he had to wait, take his time, and then select his moment, and then take it, pounce on it. That's exactly what he done. He set the trap. He flicked the jab, and whoomp, out of nowhere through the right uppercut, straight through the middle of the guard, landed on Rodriguez's nose, and it was all over.
Amazing. Before we continue, let's cross over to Sian Price at Ali Pali. She is watching the World Championship darts.
Yes, it was a bit of a one-sided affair in the final match of the evening. Scott Gary Anderson against Australia's Simon Whitlock. Anderson beat Whitlock 3-0 and took out a spectacular 116 to win and book his place in the third round. He looks like he's one to beat this year. And that's it for us tonight, but we're back tomorrow with more darting drama from the Palace with live commentary of both sessions on talkSPORT 2 starting from 12:30.
What a beautiful voice. Diolch, Sian Price, over at Ali Pali. Enjoy the rest of the night. Coming up next, and it involves a big movement within talkSPORT as well. Former boxer Izzy Asif joins us. He's the GBM CEO and promoter. Izzy has been a boxer himself, of course, and we've got something of a plan for 2024. Good evening, Izzy. How are you?
Hi, Gareth. You okay?
Good evening, Izzy. How are you, mate?
You're at the Beacon of... No?
What's that, sorry?
Where are you tonight?
I'm in Arizona. Phoenix, Arizona. I'm actually... Junaid Boston has just walked into it. He's in the first round. He's in the ring, and I've come to support Sonny Edwards in his big fight tonight. So, yeah, I'm in Arizona.
Sorry, I thought you were in Sunderland. You're in Arizona. Even better.
Yeah.
Has Junaid Boston just fought, did you say?
He's on now, first round.
It's been tasty all week, hasn't it, in the build-up?
Yeah, they've had a massive kick-off, and kids come to really have a go and all. He's got a nice pair of shorts on. That normally tells you he's not come to mess about. He's come to have a go and really win. So, yeah, it's good. It's a good contest so far.
We talked up the fight between Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez and Sonny Edwards. There's been a lot of fire around the event this week, hasn't there? A lot of chat and a lot of kind of ignition of things.
Yeah, because I've been around the camp and I've been around the fighters. It's not been one to sell the fight. There really is a real rivalry and a personal kind of ego and a bit of pride thing. They really believe maybe on different levels to each other. Deep down, I think they respect each other. But, yeah, it's going to be really interesting. And, yeah, I'd like to see where it goes. And I think it's going to be a close one. And it could be potentially one of the best fights we've seen all year.
We're going to talk to you about your own boxing career. But you're the CEO of GBM. You're a promoter now. Tell us about what you're doing with GBM.
Yeah, we started 2 years ago. I only wanted to start to manage fights to start with. And then obviously one thing led to another. I got my promoter's license. And for the last 2 years, we've been putting some really good shows on, trying to build our stable, trying to build our team. And yeah, obviously the big news for us were when we got the deals with yourself and talkSPORT. And I really think it puts on a different level, with a platform like talkSPORT. We could really push our brand on, push our fighters on, and we could really look into 2024 to be a massive, massive year for us. With titles on, signing fighters up and down the country, and really showcase what GBM Sport's all about.
Yeah, Izzy, tell us just how big GBM is going to be in 2024 with the backing of, TalkSport. Is going to be, live and exclusive on a TalkSport YouTube channel. It would be, streamed
Friday
live.
night, Saturday night.
Yeah, for Saturday nights, Friday night shows, before the big events and everything else. It's a real great way to give these kids a platform. But Izzy, you're going big, aren't you, mate? I think you're talking, is it February the 9th? You're talking British title fights, European title fights. I mean, take us there, mate. Where are we going?
Yeah, listen, I'm not saying this just to sound good or like kind of being deluded in any way. I really believe with TalkSport on and the vision and the kind of strength we've got in our team. 2 years at this, we could be as good as top 3 in the country. That's how far we're going. Because TalkSport's the biggest sporting platform in the world for it, and to have that platform backing us is really going to push us on. And listen, we're going all the way. We're not here just to make numbers up or just to put shows on. We really want to be the best, and we believe we can be the best. And TalkSport's really just kind of nailed that for us and really kind of cemented that for us. And we're looking like it's going to be a great partnership. And yeah, massive plans. 2024 is going to be absolutely enormous, massive year for us. It's going to be a game changer for us. And yeah, excited. I can't give too much away because we've had a lot of investment, interest, financial interest, commercial interest since they announced the TalkSport deal. So yeah,
all over the country. All over the country, is he?
All over the country, yeah. Obviously, I'm a Sheffield lad, a very proud Sheffield lad, and most of our shows have been South Yorkshire. But kind of every single week, I get phone calls. Come to Newcastle, come to Leeds, come to London, come to Manchester. There's a demand. I don't believe anybody in the country puts shows on like us, small all. There's only 1 or 2 promoters in the country at any level put better shows on as a production. Yeah, but obviously next is going to come the fighting, the caliber of the fight, level of fighters. That's what you're going to see next with GBM. We're going to push it up, title fights on, and I'll be disappointed back into this year, start next year, if there's not some sort of world title on TalkSport exclusively with GBM Sports.
We've only got a minute before we got to go to break, Izzy, but tell us about your boxing career as well, because you fought as well. You haven't just come to this cold.
No, I originally played cricket. I played cricket at one of the best clubs in the country. I opened the bike with Joe Rule, played the same club as Michael Warren, so I would have played cricket at one stage. I took boxing up just to keep fit, and one thing led to another. I boxed amateur, I boxed professionally.
You're a big guy as well.
Yeah, I boxed a cruiserweight. I sparred with some really good guys, and now I'm a promoter, so I've been through every single stage, so I know what the fighters want. I care about the fighters, the well-being of the fighters, and that's what makes me a little bit different. I've got a different angle to it, and I believe, I just kicked off, by the way, Junaid Boston, punched him after the bell, and it nearly squared up again.
Wow.
Sorry,
we'll have to come back to that, Izzy. Listen, it's great to hear from you. We look forward to working with you next year. You're listening to Fight Night on TalkSport.
Previously on White and Jordan.
It is going to be enormous. Well, what's it got to do with you?
100% engagement.
People who are stupid get told they were stupid.
Yeah, well, who wants to tolerate fools gladly?
Comments, conflict and confrontation.
I just think Chelsea are going to recalibrate their thinking.
Yeah, never buy teeth from a catalogue.
There you go.
Disagree to disagree.
It is what it is, isn't it?
It is what it is.
Jim White and Simon Jordan continues weekday mornings from 10 on talkSPORT.
You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth A, Davies, and him, Spencer the Omen Oliver, in the studio with me. Well, we turn to mixed martial arts now. UFC 296 in Las Vegas tonight. Massive card, one of the biggest cards of the year. It used to always be the New Year's Eve card. Trying to remember if Dan Hardy, our guest now, was ever on a New Year's Eve card.